So that shows evidence of this Lovecraft fandom that perhaps wasn't given a place to go before.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there was one other convention, and it happened just like a year or two before I started. Mm-hmm. It's called the Necronomicon Con, and but it kind of imploded, and so. It was on the East Coast, mm-hmm. and it was in Providence. Mm-hmm. But it imploded, and all these people, like the authors that I have all here, had nowhere to go. So it started gravitating to this side of the coast.
Is that when you started incorporating panels into the festival as well?
Yeah, slowly over time. I mean, I'd have, like S.T. Joshi talk and stuff. And it's gotten, I've taken the afternoon programming and split it so that we'd have more panels and more discussions. And so that's definitely evolved over the last 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. I've tried to expand it a little bit, to be not just pure Lovecraft, but Lovecraft and the like authors, Weird Tales, Robert E. Howard and Robert Bloch, all those authors that, Edgar Allan Poe, that you're familiar with if you like this genre.
What have been some notable guests over the years? Who've been your favorite guests?
Favorite guests? Oh, that's interesting. I think my favorite guest of all was author Ramsey Campbell. We flew him out from England. Absolute wonderful gentleman, interesting as all could be, low maintenance, perfect guest. We had singer Patti Smith one year, who was a sweetheart. She flew out from Europe to come to the festival, which just blew me away. Mm-hmm. Stuart Gordon, who's been a long time, Stuart Gordon is the director of Reanimator and From Beyond and Dagon and a bunch of other films. He's always been very supportive of the film festival and a very nice gentleman himself. Usually the directors are really easy to get along with. I don't know. I mean, there's a whole bunch, but those are the ones that pop up to the top.
Do you have any on your wish list for upcoming years?
Oh, yes. Well, I've been working on Guillermo del Toro for years, mm-hmm. and before Pan's Labyrinth, I might have had a chance, but now with The Hobbit and everything, I'm not holding my breath. Mm-hmm. Hans Rodendorff was another great, he's a screenwriter and whatnot. He was a great guest too. But I've worked around trying to get people that, Guillermo works with or knows, and they all tell them, hopefully good things. And I'm hopeful one day we'll get Guillermo out here.
Well, you also do the Zompire Film Fest every year. What's that like?
Well, Zompire kind of grew out of, there's a lot of films I don't show at this film festival because it's really literary horror. It's very more of a narrow niche. And part of me was like, well, I need to keep the doors open. and I said, well, I want to do something that's interesting and fun. That's probably a little bit more mainstream. Mm-hmm. But it's still branded with my sensibilities, mm-hmm. which is kind of hard to describe. One of the things I'm always interested in is the vampiric lore and zombie lore, and so I said, why don't I just combine them and do Zompire? And because Vambi didn't work, it didn't sound as good. So Zompire sounded Zompire. Sounded like Empire, Zompire. So it sounds a little bit but I didn't realize at the time that both of these are active communities. They're that's one thing I look for is kind of a niche, but something where you have a community that's very enthusiastic about the material, because then you have a much better experience at the film festival. And Zompire, I didn't realize, of course. I mean, if I thought about it, I would have done. But the vampiric community and the zombie community, there is overlap, but not as much as I thought there would be. So it's kind of interesting.
A culture clash?
There's a little bit of a culture clash, but mm-hmm. there's a culture clash at the Lovecraft Festival too. I mean, mm-hmm. where you have hardcore Christians and satanic people, and yet they're talking the common language of cosmic horror, which mm-hmm. I've always been very impressed about the festivals. And because at one time I was really seriously considering not doing it, and because I said, the material is kind of dark, and my wife Linda said to me, well, look, you are a catalyst bringing all these disparate people together in one place, and they wouldn't have an outlet, or as I call it, a dysfunctional family reunion, a place to do this. So it's providing a service, a community service, I think.
Well, where do you see these festivals going, say, in the next 5 years?
Oh, well, that's a good one. Well, I don't know. I have to get off the fence a little bit and decide whether I want to be serious and grown up and you know, or do I want to keep it at this level. One of the things I was really seriously thinking about doing, and have in part, is to take it on the road and basically, you know, package up the festival and go to, say, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Austin, and LA, and do it around the United States. So bringing it to the people. And, you know, I'm in the process of doing some of that, but we'll see. I mean, I've done it like in Austin at the Alamo Draft House, and I did it in Salem, Massachusetts, and Vancouver, BC, and those have all been fairly successful. But, you know, it's work and logistics and finding people, boots on the ground that you can trust, and that's... So if you're out there and you want to do it, you call me.
Well, what do you think the most rewarding part of doing the Lovecraft Festival is for you?
The people. I mean, you know, it's funny, is I had surgery earlier this week and not feeling that great and feeling a bit obligated that I need to continue this. But just getting the pats on the shoulder, the kind words, the people telling me this is more important to them than their birthday, Christmas, and Easter all combined, or whatever the holidays are. And I was like, I'm always blown away by that it means that much to these people. And I'm touched. I mean, I get buoyed. I'm going to cry now. No. I get buoyed by the emotional response that this festival, you know, elicits from people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks so much for giving us a few minutes of your time.
No, thank you. Can I eat now?
Yes.